doing these interviews, or what reasons why would people doing these interviews don't really want to give Jimel any credit in the beginning?
Well, you know what? Jimel ain't never been liked by too many people. I was talking to a guy the other day who bought my book, and he's watching this because he followed you. And he opened the book up. He said, I got a problem with this already, Jim. I said, you got a problem, Darnell. What you got? He said, Jimel. I said, what about you?
For the dime moves and the lokes, for the 6-4s on spokes, for the OGs that did a dime, came back around on parole, for the homegirls with the scrap game, little homies that gang bang, from Pelican Bay to YA, rearrange your mind frame. Yeah, I know what you've been through, shit you had to go tend to. Your mama gave birth on the turf, I know them killers you kin to. This for the lost generation, broke as hell, man.
Lifting weights, and I was on swole, they start calling me Big Miz.
Original stutter box. Eastside 5, who's Pebble on Bishop, Mid City Gangsta Bloods.
Kev Mac video, you know, this is for sure. Kev Mac video, open your soul.
This is the beginning.
Okay, so your friend Darnell was saying what?
Him and Jimel had some early fights at junior high school, and he's just another one that don't like Jimel. I think, and like I told Darnell, you know, I have a different relationship with Jimel than a lot of those guys. In my book, you will see that I almost took off on Jimel at one time myself. And he was able to get into the gym office before I too hit him. And then later I got to know him, and I got to know him. And he was an athlete, and he'd go hard on the basketball court. As a matter of fact, I wish he was in my homeroom. I wish he was on my team. He gets in there like a West Onsell. He bangs and bangs and bangs. Not the tallest guy, but he bangs and he plays hard. And you got a big old yellow dude like that fouling you hard going up. And when you try to fight him, then here come half the school running over there trying to jump on Jimel. So I seen that. And all the guys that always wanted to fight him was guys that was older than him. So. So he became like a Space Ghost. He was hated by so many people. Space Ghost because he played all the time, and Jimel was muscle bound, solid, and he stood up for himself. I think that had a lot to do with it. But I think a lot of people never got to know Jimel the person, you know, to hear him laugh and talk, because he always talked in a deep voice like he was kind of hoarse. And so a lot of people just didn't mess with him. But me personally, my personal relationship is different than most people, I guess. If we see each other, we're gonna shake hands and embrace, eat a sandwich together. So I probably have what other people didn't have. So I like my relationship. He's good with me.
The Crip lover thing from the Bounty Hunters. Talk about that.
The Crip loving thing?
Bounty Hunters calling you guys Crip lovers.
You know what? That was my boy Dino had came back from Jordan one day, and he told us that the Bounty Hunters was calling us Crip lovers after the 1972 Watts Festival. And like again, you know, Skip was killed in June, and we didn't know who did it till late 72, like October, November, because the festivals are always in August. So we went up there as bishops, and we didn't have any problems with the Crips up there because we didn't know. And so the Bounty Hunters was already fighting the Crips in the park, and when they saw bishops up there, they said, oh man, they kicking it with the Crips, they cool with the Crips. And them guys are Crip lovers. But you know what? They were correct to say that. We were Crip lovers. The Psycho Michaels and the Aldens, and we know each other. I know where Michael lived, I know where Alden lived, I've been to their homes, they know where I live, we went to the same parks, you know, we were friends. So we were lovers, we were friends with each other.
1972 Jefferson High yearbook. You got the leather coat on, looking like a tough guy.
Yes, sir.
If there's a picture of a bully in a dictionary or Pictionary, this would be the picture.
I don't know, man. It was one of those things where when we were young, my brothers, we just never did smile in front of the camera. That was way before. Matter of fact, the picture in '72, that was before. I believe that was before they killed Skip. I don't think we were bishops because in those pictures, they have to take that at the beginning of the semester to have them for the yearbook, and that was a yearbook picture. So that was probably right before they killed Skip, real close to it, up in that area.
So I gotta ask you, did anybody ever try to steal your leather coat?
They ain't gonna get it, Cat. They know they're not gonna get my coat, man. Who? I mean, you take a look at that picture, Cat. That's not the type of person that you're gonna try to take coat from. Look at the picture on the cover of the book. That's not the type of person that you're gonna try to take a coat for. People carefully pick their targets. They look for somebody that look weak.
Opportunist.
Yeah, that's a person that's going to come back and get you. No bully wants you coming back. See, I was a bully. I'm not looking for nobody that's going to come back and get me, man. I need an easy target. Yeah.
So I noticed you're a self-admitted bully.
I was a bully.
Throughout your book, and a couple of people that I have purchased your book, they opinion that you're making all the Crips out to be bullies. But here you are saying you're a bully as well.
We was all bullies.
Explain how you was all bullies.
Well, I was guilty until '69. It was a show where I took food out somebody's mouth. I took a sandwich. And one of the older homies ended up coming up there with some crew coming to get me. But they don't know it's me. So when I get there, it's like, this who you talking about? So the big homeboy, Bo Bell, said, Lil Lavender, you up here doing that? Verbally chastised me, threatened to tell his mama on me. And his mother used to give Bible studies and stuff like that. And I did not want her to know that that's what I was up there doing. So I pleaded with him. I said, I won't do this no more. And man, look at here. My life as a bully was over. You had bullies in every gang. There's some people that took gangs and took advantage of that because now they got the posse. And they bully guys that's not affiliated. And I wasn't with that. So I said that all Crips was bullies because, as you can hear from a lot of their interviews, they all say the same thing. We say Crip or what are, it was all about taking people's jackets. So that put them more on the stage of bullies than anybody else. But they wasn't the only bullies, no.
All right, I want to know, what year did you stop gangbanging?
I stopped gangbanging late '74 or maybe the first month or two in '75.
Yes or no answer. Were you guys Bloods?
No.
Okay, now, just if you can, just kind of describe to me your relationships with the anti-Crips, meaning the bounty hunter, what was going on in the house here in the village, the Pirus, the Brims, Denver Lanes, Athens Parks, Swans if they were around yet. Any gangs on the east side, from the Outlaws on, how did those relationships come about or what have you?
A lot of that relationship with individual friendships, such as Big Mouse from the Athens Park Boy. That's my boy. We close. We visit each other. So, but he wasn't in with the rest of the bishops, and I wasn't in with the rest of the APBs. Michael Berry from the Denver Lane, same story. That's my buddy, but he wasn't coming around the rest of the bishops, although he went to Drew, so he knew a lot of the bishops. The Outlaws, actually, there was Wild Man and Johnny Durr and a few people like that was actually both outlaw and bishop. So we had meetings with them at the All People's Center on 25th and Griffin. So, and then Outlaws went to Jeff. So I had a cool relationship with Sir Danny and a lot of Outlaws, but at the same time, there was hidden tensions because I was also like a brother to the Fortray Crips. Athens Park Boys, they were the brothers to the Bishop. That was our number one, our ally. So we spent a lot of time at Athens Park. So, and they spent a lot of time. We spent more time in their neighborhood than they did us. And that's how me and Bartender and the Nuns and all of us became very close. H-Bomb and all of us. Mm-hmm.
Any interaction with the Inglewood families before you stopped gangbanging?
No, we didn't really go for West. I didn't know anything past the Harbor Freeway. I didn't know anything about the gangs over there.
When did you first become familiar with the Swans?
That's a good question. I'm going to have to go with Elvis Dexter. I'm going to probably, that's a tough one. I'm going to say probably 74. That's not when I met Elvis. I was a real good friend with a sister, and a classmate was mine was his sister Shirley. And so I've been to their apartment before and kicked it. So Elvis and I was just little kids running around the house at that time. So I got to know them, and when they were just little kids. And
wait, let's stop. What was Elvis staying at the time, like in the 80s in Avalon or something like that?
Yeah, Elvis was staying on 83rd and Avalon on the corner in some apartments on the northwest side of the street at that time.
Right. Was he gangbanging, or you don't remember?
No, not when I first met Elvis. He was too young.
Okay.
But, later, I don't know if they were still living in that same apartment or what, but, yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think Dexter might be your age.
Nah.
No?
Elvis younger than
I think he was closer to Raymond's age.
Well, there's,
I just think, I'm not sure.
I think Shirley was the oldest, and I think Jan was before Elvis and then Elvis, or it could have been Elvis and then Jan. But Shirley is with me. She's my classmate. So I'm thinking of Elvis. I'm going to guess and say that he's at least 2 years under me. I think he's with Sugar Bear now, so I think he's 2 years younger than me.
That would be 57. He ain't no
Right.
57. I know for sure he's not 57.
Born in 57.
He wasn't.
So Elvis
I'm going to check. I'm going to try to pull him up real quick. He was born in 56.
56.
So
he's 1 year under me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Okay, sorry.
So that's about right. He's right there with Lucky now.
Okay. So basically, even though you're only a year older than them, would you consider them like the next generation under you? Would you be the last of that first?
No, I would think that's, I would call them my generation.
Okay.
Because if he's 56, I mean, when would he turn 57? We only months apart.
Right.
But no, we all was in the same junior high school at the same time. So they all part of my generation. I call it Lucky my generation. Eddie Haythorne. Eddie Haythorne was born in 56 too. Then he's a year under me.
What was your relationship with him?
Eddie and his brother Freddie, totally different. I think Freddie was more athletic in basketball we play, and Eddie didn't. Eddie might come on a basketball court and grab a basketball and throw it or run, just do something. But as far as my relationship with Eddie, we had a good relationship. We didn't hang around together or nothing like that. Like I said, he's a year under I am, and of course, he left early. So my time with Eddie was at Drew Junior High School, and we didn't hang out or nothing like that.
How about Kenny Carter?
That's a different relationship. We didn't run around together. Kenny was Avenue, and we was a Beach Boy, but we see each other at school. Kenny was pretty good in track. He was like not the star, but one of those guys that would run on a relay team and all that. That damn Kenny Carter, man, we running a relay race one time, and I got handed off the baton. I'm about 3 lengths ahead of him, and that damn Kenny reached over and knocked the baton out of my hand, man, intentionally. But that's Kenny. And that's Drew, and that's, you got to expect something like that from where we went.
You talk about having a cousin and the Fortrays being friends and family. How come nobody never mentions Pitbull?
I don't know. I only heard his name mentioned a couple of times out there, and I don't know. I don't know. His death was kind of big for a minute, but I don't know why his name is not mentioned the way I think it should be.
Did you know of Herc from over in that area? Maybe the Fortrays?
Herc.
No.
Herc. No, I don't.
Okay. Just asking. Did you know Black Johnny?
I knew Black Johnny.
Where was he from that you remember?
Black Johnny Fortray.
And that was before they became Avalon, 43rd Street Crips?
You know what? I heard that, but I never called the Fortray Avalons. I'm not saying that's what they didn't call themselves, but I just call them Fortrays.
In 1973, the aggression kind of took a twist between the Crips and you guys.
Yes.
Tell me why, and
I tell you why I believe that happened. By 1973, there was so much war, and people getting shot, stabbed. The different neighborhoods had been established, but before 1973, the Crips was still sweeping through the east side. I'm only talking about the east side of LA. I can't tell you nothing about the west side or Compton and truth because I don't know it. But I'm an east side person. And by 1973, there was wars. Everybody had their own neighborhood established. Wasn't nobody taking no jackets no more, which started all this. Wasn't nobody taking shoes or robbing each other. It was all by identity. He's from over here. He's from over here. And now you just going at your targets. And it's just a war going on now. All the other stuff that played out.
Jimmy, what's going on, man? Are you some type of big dummy or something that you graduated at 20?
Kel, I thought you was my friend. But you know what, man? That's what happens when you get caught up in that life. First of all, I didn't want to go to school. I didn't like school. If I could have just went and played ball and went home, then that's what I wanted to do. Only thing I ever cared about was if I gave you $1 and sent you to go to the store and that bill was 55 cents, then I know that I got 45 cents coming back. That's
you
all.
Want that 45?
Yeah, that's math. That's all I knew. I didn't care about fractions, and I did want to know division and multiplication, and that was stuff you learned in junior high school. So I didn't really want to go to school at first, and then of course, at 14, I started actually smoking angel dust, and it started getting a little worse and worse, and makes you lazy. And I'd rather get up in the morning and sneak in the back of my mother's icebox because you had to keep that angel dust in some foil. You had to keep it cold. It's a chemical. And I'll sneak back there and get my stuff, wrap it up, and go in the garage and hit it. And I got to leave. And I was supposed to be on my way to school. And, school just meant walking around the school, looking in people's classes, drinking that TJ Swan wine or silver satin bitter lemon, whatever he's going to do, getting high. And so the 10th grade semester, I traveled. Now, me and Raymond Washington and Robert Munson, for 2 weeks I was in Fremont. None of us went to class. We walked around the school all day. One day we went to my house and played pinball. Yeah, those was my ditching buddies. And then I ended up going to Locke, and then the same thing, I wouldn't go to class. And Jordan High School, and Locke got into a fight, and I found myself jumping in with Jordan, and I can't go to Locke now, so I went and checked out. Then I went to Jordan. I got kicked out of Jordan. Then I went to Jeff, got kicked out of Jeff, and that was in for the 10th grade semester with me having 0 credits. The next year got a little better. I went to a few classes, and like most of us, we go to a school and we meet a girl. And here's the thing. I got to share this with you. Here's the thing. Here's a good question. why would I go to a school that is dominated by the Crips when I could have gone to Huntington Park High School or Southgate High School that was dominated Bishop schools? Mm-hmm. I could have went there with no problem. But, you know, jealousy had something to do with it. I had met this little cutie pie, Jeff, and I wanted to be where she was. And I took the chance of going to the school with the Crips. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think it's commendable that you went back to school and actually graduated. You know, a lot of people end up going to youth authority or prison to end up getting a GED. But another thing, too, I should have mentioned in an interview I've done recently, people tend to look down on gang members' education, but it's rarely, if ever, talked about. Some guys get college degrees while they're locked up.
You know, a lot of gangbangers are super smart. Super smart. You know, I don't even understand why a lot of people gangbang. And then a lot of people probably don't understand why I gangbang, but they don't know the story behind. You know, I tell people, if you never held your best friend in your hand and watching him die, then you go to court, they laughing in court, the killers are laughing in court, and then you why? And then you sitting there and, you know, and I have to send a shout out to Bradley Collins, and it was his cousin that killed Skip, and Skip, Bradley lived in our neighborhood, and we was all friends. But still, to turn state evidence on your cousin who had actually got away with it, and he couldn't take it, so he went to the authorities and said, this is what happened. And that's how we found Skip killers. That had to take something to do with that right there. And I would say to Bradley, man, we were friends, and you know, we knew you couldn't come back to the neighborhood, but we were 16 and 17, and you know we would have killed you. You know, yeah, we were going to kill.
That's a cold way to give a shout out.
Yeah, we. Yeah, you okay. But anyway, Bradley, I got to clean up a little bit. Yeah, but Bradley, you know, we older now, and you know, I would love to see you, and I understand now that, you know, you didn't bring those guys over there for that reason, and actually, Bradley and his sister, they wasn't fighters, and they probably could do very little to stop it, and they probably never seen it coming. So I can't speak for anybody else, and but as for me, I don't hold that against Bradley or his sister anymore. No.
Now, you mentioned 10th grade, ditching buddies, Raymond Washington. I'm surprised we got through this interview so far without even mentioning Raymond. So, here go my thing. Your book, when I read through it, seemed like Raymond was mentioned throughout the book. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't Raymond, it was like you were painting the Crips out to be bullies. How much of that is personal, and how much of it is intentional for you to paint a picture of how you felt about Crips?
I think when you hold your best friend and then you learn who killed him, it was Crip involvement. When you learn that he was the fourth person to have been killed by Crips, the Baloo incident, the Black Jesus, the country, although their incidents was different. And then we saw all this, Crips again, Crips again, Crips again. And when you see the whole community, people that look like me and you, afraid to go to school, afraid of the park, afraid to give a party, Crips are coming, Crips. As a matter of fact, it was either Crips or the Cribs. It was the same. It was the same thing. People pronounced it, and it sounds the same. Cribs are coming, the Crips are coming, the Cribs are coming. And then I'm a person that get words twisted up anyway, so I called them both Cribs and Crips. But I saw the writing on the wall when you get around Broadway and where Bulldog lived. Around that area, you see Cribs on the wall. Then you go a couple blocks down where Raymond then lived, and then you see Crips on the wall. So I knew the difference because I knew all of them. So I was real angry because with the likes of Raymond and And when you're a leader, then sometimes you have to be held responsible for what you guys are doing. And the chaos that was going on in our neighborhood, I couldn't be happy with it. A lot of people was getting stomped down, put in the hospitals that you never hear about. Way before Robert Ballou was killed, probably 100 or so people was already sent to hospitals. That's never talked about. But I couldn't like that. And cool part about it was the guys that was doing it was actually my friends in most parts. The leadership, the Crip products and those guys was personal friends. The Aldens, these guys are my friends. So I didn't like what they were doing. I loved them, but I didn't like what Raymond was doing.
Got a question for you.
Come on, Kev.
Who is the anti-Crips Raymond Washington? What blood would be compatible or the heir apparent to Raymond Washington?
I want to say Big Mouse, but that wouldn't be right. Big Mouse is a whole different type of character than what Raymond was.
You know, before you answer, while you continue to think, me talking to different bloods, most a little bit younger than you, I actually think Bobby Lavender might be that guy. Other people say Rhea Boyce.
Well, Rhea Boyce wasn't gang affiliated.
Right. Some people say he was. Most people say he wasn't.
No, Raymond was about money. You know, I think what it is Rhea Boyce, as we know and as we heard Frog speak of it, Rhea Boyce was just like known for a fighter, and he'd be on Success on 115th, and there used to be a light right there. And Ray was notorious for running out to snatching a purse or something out of a car. That was pretty much what Ray was all about. But I wouldn't. I'll tell you why I wouldn't compare Raymond with my brother Bobby. And in truth, Bobby to me was different, and not just because he was my brother. Because I was the mess up. I was the badass. Bobby was the guy that always ran for class president and stuff like that, and I was always the bad one. So I may be more compared to Raymond than what Bobby was. If you was caught by Bobby Lavender, a good example was about 25 of us caught 3 Crips. We surrounded them. They looked. Bobby asked them where they was from. They called the name of their Crip. And the guy said, "We don't have no problem with bishops." Bobby turned around and said, "Do we have a problem with these Crips?" Nobody said nothing. Bobby extended his hand out and said, "Then we don't have no problem with y'all." And Bobby always taught us, if you give a person a pass, that can save another person's life. If we jump on them, they come back, it might be me that they kill. So that was Bobby's way of thinking. If you couldn't get out of an ass whooping with Bobby Lavender, that's just sad. And Raymond was different. Raymond loved to see people getting socked. And the times that I've been around him, I remember at Fremont one day, this tall guy, he looked like a nerd, was walking across the campus. Cold thing about it was me, my brother Bobby, and my brother Wooly, my cousin Archie. We didn't have no business at the school. We have to try and get females' phone numbers. And who pops up?
Sitting reminiscing about the days of way back. Gun on us with the gym on the rollers. Keep getting the fire at the stove shop. Don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Don't make dollars, it don't